All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. We finally made it. Geez, it's been one of those weeks. It's been a long week. Seems like it's been a long week. Um, Here in the US, we had the dreaded spring time change where we all set our clocks forward an hour. Not sure how that is done internationally, but whenever you do it, wherever you do it, it sucks. Uh, I'm just gonna put it out there like that. Um, yeah, Monday was a long day for me. Um, Excuse me. Don't knock that down, please. Um, so anyway, I'm still dragging. But good morning to everybody. Rune, Dana, GK Man. I think we got Ronald in the house. Let's see, Robert Patton, good morning. HKS Jeff, good morning. Hope you've had a good week. I liked your video. I commented on it. Saw that you read my comment, replied to it, and all that. But all glass doors, I hate touching them. I hate being anywhere near all glass doors. Uh, even just changing like, I can handle rekeying the cylinders if they've got locks on the bottom. Um, but any type of mechanical function or the door comes out of alignment, nah, I'd tell people to call a glass door company. Um, I'm not gonna touch it. Torch of KCK, good morning. Hope you're all doing well. We're talking about weather in the chat. Uh, in addition to springing forward, as I said in the chat, we sprung forward so hard that we hit winter again. We had about almost 2 weeks of weather where we were hitting 80 degrees, 70 to 80 degrees every day. The evenings were nice and warm, and then the time changes so that we have more daylight to enjoy that warm weather, and it gets cold again. Like literally the day that the time changed, it got cold again. So no snow. Think that our chance for snow this year has gone away for this season anyway, for us here. I know some of y'all have gotten blizzards and feet of snow, and I am not at all jealous. I like a good, what I call a good southern snow, where we get about a foot and then it sticks around for like 2 days and then it all melts because it warms up. That's the kind of snow I like. Uh, Glass doors should only be touched if it is part of entering or exiting the room. Yes, Rune, that is the best description ever. Um, that that should be on a T-shirt. You should make T-shirts and sell them with that on there. Um, Nate Godden, good morning. Um, so I posted last night. I posted a picture that I took from work. Access control, to Jeff's video, access control has been what we've pretty much done all week, like 3 days worth of access control jobs. Just some jobs that we had to wait on parts to get here from. The system that we sell the most of is Salto. I know I've mentioned the name before, and I promise one day I will get a Salto. I'll get a Salto demo in here to show you guys how it works. But anyway, we the picture that I posted was from a job where we had just gotten parts in. Salto is based in Spain, and everything's manufactured there, so we have to wait on shipping from Spain for a lot of parts. That's why we try to pre-order and keep some stuff in stock because it is a popular system that we sell. And we do have a lot of customers who, get it and they really, really enjoy it because it is a live system, it's cloud-based, and they can make instantaneous changes. And it's really, really cool. Um, let's see here. bit to the DIY side. Yeah. Miko, you're uh you're on time. I started early. Um, but anyway, um, so we finally got some more parts in for this job to finish it up. Um, we've had them in for a while, and it was just kind of waiting on the customer. But the business was a manufacturing business, and in the manufacturing production floor, uh, it's got like 30-foot tall ceilings, and we only had two doors that we had to do. And the way Salto works is the actual locks have a connection to an access point. So if you look in that picture that I posted last night, the little white box that's on that piece of plywood mounted to the steel frame is the access point. It's called an IQ. That's just their branding, their name for it. But the IQs you can get in two models, one that is Ethernet only and one that is Ethernet or Wi-Fi. Obviously, if you have a strong Wi-Fi network through the building, the Wi-Fi ones are preferable because then it jumps online. You don't have to run any Cat 5 or Cat 6 wire to it, and um, it's kind of plug and play, and you just set it up on your system and then add your locks to it. In this case, we were planning on using the Wi-Fi IQs, and we get there and we get the first one mounted up, and there's no connection. Like it flashes red at us, which means that it has no network connection. And these IQs, pretty much you power them on and they find internet to join and kind of tunnel their way back through. You don't have to do network naming or any type of complicated setup. They're very much plug and play. And so when it was showing that there's no network connection, we said, And we decoded the model numbers, and the model numbers that we had didn't line up with anything in the Salto catalog. So we made the deduction that they were Ethernet based. They were Ethernet only, which put us in the position then of here we are. We're going to have to run probably for two IQs in this building. We're going to have to run 400 to 450 feet of network cable. Not something we wanted to do because we needed to get that job finished up that evening. They are a 24/7 production facility, so it wasn't going to be like, we were going to get kicked out that night. And we didn't get there till the afternoon. So we just really, really were not keen on running all that network cable. Not to mention the fact we would have had to go run and buy, a, another box. We had some with us, but we only had like 125 feet. So I said, And then I had a thought. Normally, normally whenever I say I have an idea, everybody kind of takes cover and covers their head, crouches down, waits to see what blows up, and it was like that whenever I was a cop too. Um, but anyway, uh, good morning, Anthony. Um, anyway, so I had an idea, and you guys remember months ago when I was having all kinds of horrible internet issues. And I bought a router and had to move the router to the living room, which is well on the other side of the house from here. And so I bought a secondary router to put in the laundry room to be a repeater to out here. Well, that secondary router is a little Walmart router that costs like 25 bucks. And I said, while we were on this job, I said, hey, we could take one of those routers because we had electricity, we had outlets. That's kind of why we had to mount them so far up on the walls, because the receptacles were mounted very high up on the walls for whatever reason. And I said, why don't we get one of those little routers, turn it into a range extender for the building's Wi-Fi network? And because those routers have Ethernet output LAN connections on the back, we'll take a little patch cable and run from the IQ to that router. And then that router communicates wirelessly with the main Wi-Fi. And Jason looked at me and he said, that just might actually work. He said, get your company credit card and go to Walmart. So I I went to the closest Walmart, bought two of them, bought some power strips, and we mounted everything on those pieces of plywood. The power strips you don't see because they're on the backside. Um, but we mounted the IQs and the routers to the front side of that plywood, and then used two or three quarter 20 bolts to bolt that into the steel frame of the building. And it's spaced off far enough that, I don't think it really didn't degrade any type of signal or anything. We're not using the Wi-Fi out of the routers for other than to connect back to the building's Wi-Fi, but it worked. Like, soon as we did it, it fired right up. And that was pretty cool. And I am tooting my own horn a little bit on that, but it kind of goes back to a couple episodes of the Three Tumblers podcast. Uh, Creativity, thinking on the fly, outside of the box, and just kind of locksmithing something. And that's never in a million years. Like 2 years ago, when I just got my license, I never once thought I would be trying to figure out network connections to make a lock work. So that was pretty big. Um, I really was really kind of proud of that. And then the very next day, we were on a job, same system for a different customer, and we were having to look at running another couple 100 feet of uh, Cat 6 cable through a building that didn't really have a good path to run wires. So we're thinking we're going to do that because Wi-Fi is available for that as well. So great little, like, on the fly fix that may become part of our, well, it definitely has become part of our mental tool bag that we have. Let's see. Secure Tech, good morning. Um, Ideal was to repeat to a closer access point, less Ethernet to run. Exactly. Anthony, we used about 10 inches of Ethernet instead of 400 feet. Well, altogether, probably like 22 inches of Ethernet. But yes, much better than 400 feet. And having to get a scissor lift and run it through the rafters and all that good stuff. Um, yeah, just so much better. That's why I called it a DIY job. Yep. Yeah, Rune, that was it, it was. And thank you, Anthony. I appreciate that. Dead chat. Yeah, mine goes dead sometimes too. I think that y'all just like fall asleep listening to me. Um, and speaking of access control, today we will be recording an episode of the podcast that is on access control. I think a lot of the episodes that we've done, I think probably in the future we'll have like a part two or a revisit, a follow up, different aspects, stuff like that. So, hope y'all are enjoying the podcast. We have a lot of fun doing it. It's a lot of work behind the scenes, but um, We really enjoy it. We've got a couple guests, I think, lined up to come on, and I think you'll enjoy those episodes as well. We just kind of kick back and you know have a non-serious discussion about serious stuff. Let's see, chat was frozen. Well, Dana, as cold as it is up there, I'm surprised the whole computer didn't freeze up. Um, this coming week, we've got more access control stuff. Oh, and after we get done with this, I will post pictures of my screwdriver that I talked about in the tools episode of the podcast. Um, let's see. Would be nice if there was a blue punch for the Ruco 6-pin keys. Rune, I would love to have like just a whole line of blue punches. Like, I mean, there are some that we never use because they're just not in our market area. This is an IC blue punch, the best A2 punch, or the A2 interchangeable core system. We're going to look at that here in a second because we're going to look at some of these in a second, talk about them. Let's see. If everything goes right by the middle of the next month, I will have fiber internet feed. Oh, that's pretty cool. Gee, man, I looked at it. Like, I could get fiber internet at my house, um, but for the, what is it, half gig speed, I for half gig, I would pay what I'm currently paying. Um, and since I got my uh, internet issues taken care of, I've not had any problems. New router, new plug-in location. Um, you know, I'd like to do it. I think probably what my next big thing for networking will be is I'm going to run uh, Ethernet cable from my router out here to the shop. There is Ethernet out here. Ethernet wire ran, but I think it's either broken or wired incorrectly because I don't get link lights on anything. Um, so I might just need to check the connectors on it to see, kind of what's going on. Um, but I think I would like to have that. That way I can do a little bit better with the computer out here and, with my phone, which I get decent LTE signal here. I don't have a 5G phone, so I don't know what 5G signal here is like. I imagine I probably don't have 5G here because of how short the range is on those. Uh, but I'll find out whenever I decide to upgrade my phone. Let's see. Got to have backup batteries for the router just in case the power goes out. Yeah, that's very true, Miko. I do need to have that. The I also need to get my generator checked out. It's kind of I was planning on doing that last year before winter started, but it just never materialized, and we've had a fairly mild winter down here. Um, but I think that would probably be my bigger issue. Let's see, mine's $5 cheaper than my DSL. Yeah, it's going to be like the same price for me. Torch, glad you've enjoyed the three tumblers. Hope you'll keep tuning in. If you don't have podcast apps, then they're always on Tyler Thomas's YouTube channel, which I think he's retitled the Three Tumblers podcast channel. Um, let's see here. And if you do enjoy the podcast, show us some love over on Twitter or send us an email. Jeff would really like to get emails from listeners. You can ask questions, give your comments, feedback, whatever. We'd all love to hear from anybody who listens. So you had fiber internet here. It's about the same, but you can hook a lot more computers up to it. Okay. Wow, Rune. Yeah. I mean, I probably will go ahead. Like, one day I'll probably get fiber. Because I think it's just going to come to a point where that's what you're going to have, just those speeds instead of cable internet. Plus, I really don't like the cable internet company, but I also really don't like the fiber internet companies either. Wish there was like a local independent one. Let's see. Dalp, good morning. I replied or commented on your Facebook post, by the way. Uh, it's, um, you know, yeah. Wish I had one of those sonic screwdrivers. Hope everything's going well with you down under. Hope you're getting a lot of business and doing a lot of locksmith stuff. All right, so we've got what we've got hands on are some levers. These have been in the shop since before I started. They were takeoffs a from a job. The reason why they were taken off and replaced is the customer needed Schlage full size interchangeable core cylinder capability. You can't fit a Schlage full size interchangeable core into a small format interchangeable core lever or housing. So these were taken off. These are Sargent 10 line levers. I think they are, yep, I believe these are storeroom. That's storeroom. I think all three of these are storeroom. And yes, the cord just fell out. I picked that one before I started live. We are going to pick another one, but if you notice something about all of these, the cores are colored. It's either black or dark blue or purplish, and those are construction cores. Construction cores are kind of what you might think they are. Let's see, just responded to my comment. Okay, I'll look when live's over. S&M Lock and Key, good morning. Fiber company is also my electric company. That's convenient. Just applied for a third job. Wow. Glutton for punishment. I love that y'all talk about internet options and upgrades you got. I just have a cell phone that I can't access emails. Surprising that you still have air. Yeah. Hey, if they ever quit making iPhones, I will be forced to go back to a flip phone. So yes, Rune is correct. These are uh, predefined keyed alike. So, in other words, a building is being built, and you're using small format interchangeable core, and you know that you're going to swap it out for whatever keyway, master system, etc., that you're going to have in the building permanently. But you don't want to go ahead and install that and take the risk of one of the construction workers hanging on to a key for later use after the construction is over, right? So you pop these little cores in, and you pop them in. All the people on the job site who need keys have the same key. And if the key gets lost, that's okay. Generally speaking, it's okay. Um, not not that it's ever okay that a key gets lost, but it happens. It's not going to be the end of the world because it's not like them losing the permanent master key, like a great grand master key for an entire building. So what they do is they put these construction cores in, and then they go and uh, after the building is basically released, they take the occupants, the owners of the building, take possession of it. Then they have their locksmith come in and exchange all of the cores for ones on their system with their keys. Um, and uh, Jeff, HKS, just mentioned the colored chart for construction cores. So the reason why we have these levers with the cores still in them and we haven't resold them because these are like, I don't know, these are like uh, we don't sell Sargent normally, but slightly used Sargent 10 line storeroom function levers, I think you're looking at about $300 to $400 a piece, brand new list price. So yeah, these are pretty good. Don't really want to throw them away because they're all perfectly functioning. And I've got some full ones down here, but we've still got the construction cores in them, and in order to sell them, we have to remove those. I mean, we could sell them with them, but here's the other thing. I went and referred to that uh, chart, cut a couple keys. I figured out which keyway it is, which it's best E keyway, and on the chart there were two possible biddings for construction keys for that color. This one obviously doesn't work, so I cut the second one. It also doesn't work. Now, at this point, you have two options. You can pick them. You can sell them as is with no keys, which means basically you're going to sell them to another locksmith who's going to have to pick them and then decode all the pins in the chambers and try to decipher the control key. Or you can do what I did and ask my buddy Jeff Moss if he has any other data on it. And he did. Uh, he uh, he gave me two possible biddings that I've not tried yet. So we're going to make keys for that. Hop Skippity, good morning. Let's see here. Yes, Sergeant equals $4 signs. Exactly. Sergeant is expensive. Yeah, they'll have the old Nokia that would break the floor when you drop it. Rune, I will throw these. I've got a bunch of them, both here and at the shop. I'll throw some of those in the pile that will eventually get shipped to you. Let's see. Just sold a mortise lock on Friday. That was good. Hope you got a good deal off a list. S&M drill, baby drill. Yeah, you could drill it, but I mean, really, I mean, these have just a little bit of paint on the edges of them. Even at half price, you're looking at being able to make, or half off of list price, you're looking at being able to make, a couple $100 off of each one, selling them on eBay. Um, so, or selling them to another locksmith. Even though they're takeoffs, you sell because you're spending your time and effort into getting this. So what we're going to try I borrowed, along with the blue punch, I borrowed a few blanks from the shop, eKeyway, because this is work related. These are not mine. These belong to the shop. Um, let's see here. I know I did the video on the blue punch, but try to give you all a good view. Still can't really move the camera, and I'm not sure about uh, the whole dual camera thing. So that was causing some issues. Let's see here. All right, so first bidding, I'm gonna try. Okay, try this. Ha ha ha! First one. Thank you, Mr. Jeff Mossman. I love the blue punch. I love the blue punch. So there we go. Now we can reposition the camera just a little bit. And hopefully all of these are the same. So yeah, the whole purpose of interchangeable core, so you can just do that. Pull out your old one, make sure you hang on to this, and then put it into your new one, and then just pop your new core in there, pull your control key out, and boom. That's all you have to do to swap it out. So if you know a building well enough, as a locksmith, you've serviced it before, and you can basically, you know what you're walking into. You can go in and um, already have all your cores pinned and keys cut, and you walk in, and boom, that's how you rekey the entire building. Now, it takes time to pin all those cores. I've done that on live before, uh, showing, pinning up IC, stuff. Can't say IC cores because that's interchangeable core cores. But anyway, slap it like it owes you money. Dalp, some of these on some of the blanks you have to, like some of the Schlag ones, you have to just beat it, like you said, like it owes you money. I mean, it's making you money. Let's see, what is a 6-pin or 7-pin key? I have a 6-pin cord. Just need a dark knife for it. Okay. Mossman has everything on the worktop, even codes for my cores. Rune probably. Um, let's see, just got a Schlag IC, and the upper face is painted orange. G Keyman, yep, that definitely sounds like a construction core. And in fact, if you need the bidding for it, message me Monday when I'm at work, and if yeah, I'll try to remember, but I probably won't. So, uh, remind me on Monday. Like, shoot me an email or Twitter message or something, and remind me to look that up because we've got like an entire box of those. Um, One of our major corporate customers is on Schlag IC, and we removed a bunch of orange construction keys. I might actually have that. Um, I might actually have that bidding. So uh, hit me up. You're on Twitter, right, GK man? Huh. Jeff, we have a customer of ours. It's a town, and they just renovated an old school. like the building's 100 years old or so, maybe 110 years old. They renovated it and turned it into their new town hall, and they were doing Schlag on everything, and it's uh, yeah, Schlag levers on all the doors with SFIC format, and we are doing Medico X4 for them, and we're almost done with it, thankfully. But when we first get there, after we pinned up like 150 cores, when originally it was supposed to be 75, but it turned into 150. It's amazing how they do that. We asked them, like when we showed up to go do the install, Jason and I were going to walk through the building, make sure, okay, this door gets this, pop it in, take the old one out, blah, blah, blah. We get there and they didn't have old cores in them. Like they didn't have any construction cores. And so we looked at the levers and we said, where are the tail pieces? Because these things are different for Schlag IC. They're different for Best IC. They're different lengths. They're different shapes for different hardware. I mean, most of the best stuff is like this. And you'll see on there, there's actually a 6 stamped into that. That's for 6-pin. That determines the length. A 7-pin core would actually have a shorter tailpiece just to make up room for that extra chamber in there. Long story short, the construction company threw away all of the tailpieces for all of those brand new Schlag levers. So we had to order some. We had to find some, and it took us like a couple weeks to get the number we needed. We needed like, I don't know, 100 or so. And the construction company had to pick up the bill on that. That was a nice little over-the-counter sale in the shop uh, for the day. Yeah, I think it was about 130 that we had to charge them for. Get your IC from the ATM machine after punching in your PIN number. These Schlag ND series, hop skippity. No, these are Sargent 10 line. So I mean, they're really really good. The job I was just talking about were Schlag NDs. Um, Clear trending lock could have opened them easier. Okay. Okay, GQ man. Um, Remember that story from the podcast? Yeah, yeah. It was a nice little. It was a surprise that you hated to see on the job, but and you hated to have to go through the trouble of finding them and sourcing them and getting them as quickly as possible. And but you had a big smile on your face when the construction foreman came in and had to whip out the credit card to pay hundreds of dollars. And I think we're going to wind up having extra. So it's always good to order a little bit more than what you need. Because in the future, if we run into it, we're going to say, okay, we've got 20. So we can do these 20, or whatever it turns into be. Um, Now, I did say I was going to pick one of these. And the thing with picking interchangeable cores is that if you can, if you're picking to open the lock, just to unlock the door, somebody's left their keys inside, the door is keyed to a one-off, and you don't have a control key, um, then picking to either control or operating is okay, because if you pick it to operating, great, you've gotten in the room. If you pick it to control, great, you pull the core and stick a screwdriver in there and actuate the lock. If so that works. But if you need to do anything else, you pretty much have to pick to control, and you literally have a 50-50 shot of what you pick it to. It's not like, even though there are pins in there, and for best A2, your pin stacks have to equal 23. So if your bottom pin is 5, then everything else in that stack will have to add up to make 23. Otherwise, the lock just won't work. And when you're in the field, of course, if you just need to rekey, then it's either drill or pick it to control. Quite honestly, I give these when I have a lockout or need to, for whatever reason, get one of these cores out. I will spend, my rule of thumb is I'll spend 5 minutes picking. And if I can't get it, or like the last one I think I had to pick, I picked it to operating. I needed to replace it. I had to get it out so it could be rekeyed. I already had a new one pinned up ready to go for the customer, but I needed to get the old core out because there was no control key available for it. And anyway, I picked it to operating probably 10 times in 5 minutes and could never get it picked to control. So I drilled it, because that's your other option, is just to drill it. Or if it's something like key mark IC, I don't even bother trying to pick those. I drill. Dalp, what was Bosnian Bill's method? I don't think I probably have seen that video, but it's been years. Um, and the other thing you have to keep in mind when you're picking these is, there we go, like that. The pins are a lot smaller, so like the actual diameter of the pin is a lot smaller. So you have to, I guess, just kind of adjust your picking for it. Tensioning, it can be, I'm heavy-handed with tensioning anyway. I don't know, just get some and practice. That's all I can say. Here's a complete lever set, and no, these are not general locks. These are the locks that replace them. These were replaced, like I said, before I started working there for the shop. So and I've not been back to that location to replace them. The other thing about construction cores is that you don't want to leave them in there because that information is out there. You really don't want to leave it. Okay, that's the other half of this. You definitely do not want to leave them installed because the information is out there, and which I'm not saying that's a bad thing that it's out there, but once something gets loose, it's loose. You can't really do anything about it. Let's see here. Primus IC, that's pretty cool. Oh, the lever removal tool. Bogota, pick in, move it up and down, along, forward and backwards. Scrub, you bounce like a city rake. Okay. Huh. I'll have to try that, actually. Well, we can try it right now. Let's reinstall one of these. And we can try that. Jeff, have you seen General Locks? Oh, God, what is their part number? The M9500? It's their clone of the Von Duprin 9900 exit device. If you've not seen it, check that out. I like that just as much as the Marks, uh, just as much as the Marks M9900. Because, I mean, really, who can afford Von Duprin? All right, so remember Bosnian Bill used light tension. It's kind of bounce. Scrub. I check. Let's see. Okay, cool. Yep, put 2 in recently. Way cheaper. Yes. And they last. They work. Of course, I did replace a Marks 9900 uh 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. And it was one of those days. So I grabbed a Marks box, thought we had the right one. I grabbed the 8800 instead of the 9900. That wasn't going to work. And I was an hour away from the shop. So, fortunately, Jason met me halfway and brought me the correct one. But yeah, I do like General Locks stuff too. Let's see. Plus long warranty. Yep, that's true. Hasn't someone figured out the math so you can decode with, like, Alicia, do you do the math and then cut a key with side coding on a blitz or duplicator with micrometer? Decode ticked SFIC. The math is out there. And actually, Tyler would be the one who could really talk about that. Because he does IC like all day, every day out of his shop. And he knows that stuff as far as decoding and figuring your control key and your operating key and your masters. But you basically what you have to do, the pinning annex or the best annex, and I'm not getting anywhere with that. The best annex, which I should have brought one with me. Basically, you put your core in, and you see these holes in the bottom there. There's the little ejector pin, and it's that diameter, and goes straight up or straight down because you have it upside down in the annex. goes straight down. In the annex is a little block of metal that's shaped to hold this. And then below this part, below the top of the Bible, there's a little piece of metal that opens like a book, and it has channels that when it's closed, it inserts into that main block of metal. And so you take your punch, your ejector pin, put it in the top, tap it with a hammer, and it knocks everything in the chamber out into that channel of the little annex book. Um, when you get all of them knocked out, then you can open that and measure, take your micrometers and measure every pin and come up with the different, what number pin is at which position. So, 5, 2, what would it be? Like 5, 5 to get 23. 5, 5, 10, 3 would be your 23, your total height. So you can measure that, but as far as converting that information into control key and operating key and master key, I know the math is out there. I don't know it though. Does that make sense? 3D did not like the 4 months without use. All out of alignment. It's trying to print a follower 5 times now. Well, Rune, is it printing paracentric followers? You know, just for some of those really weird logs, you might need a paracentric follower to go in there. Yes, the lab annex for SFIC. Rune, when I eject pins out of it, I throw the springs away. The springs are really no good because they get compressed. They get smashed. Um, Not smashed as in the St. Patrick's Day celebration smashed, uh, but they get smashed and so they don't come back. So, like, I've found a couple, like, out of all the ones I've ejected, because I screw up on pinning those pretty much. Uh, but I always, like, there's been a couple that I'm like, maybe, but just to be on the safe side, I don't. So anytime you eject them, I throw the springs away. Uh, I will take pictures next time I have to eject an IC um, chamber and show you what the aftermath looks like. Yeah, like Dave said, best tells you to toss everything, but if you make a mistake in pinning, generally if you um, generally your pins are going to be okay. You can reuse them, especially on bigger jobs. You pin up 25 cores and you've got one that just does. Where'd that hole come from? Just notice there's a hole like an eighth of an inch deep in Papa Splinter. Anyway, uh, you can. If you want it to be by the book, then no, just toss them. But after you punch them out. But eh, let's see, just to save the empty cylinder. Yeah, you can is how you rekey these. So, like, let's say these weren't construction cores; these were regular in use cores, and um, as part of a master system, we were progressing just one chamber to affect the rekey. So we'd punch out, say, the first chamber, which best B is for backwards, your first chamber is always the one closest to the tailpiece. Your last chamber is also always the one closest to the face of the cylinder, um, face of the core. And so let's say we progress um, on these are 6 pins. So we progress chamber 6. We'd put this in the annex, the lab annex block, take our ejector pin, tap it with a hammer, knock everything out of that, throw it away, and then turn it around this way, right side up, and then drop your bottom and then your top pins in there. Then your spring, or not your spring yet, put it in the capping block, drop your spring in, drop your cap on top of that, and then take your capping punch, which is a bigger diameter, is just the inside diameter of that, and the caps are just a uh, just a frog's hair bigger diameter than the chamber itself. Drop that in there, take your capping punch, put it on top, tap it with your hammer, and then it seals everything inside the chamber. Does that make sense? I wish I'd brought the stuff with me to show all that, which I know I've had it before, but let's see. Same pin direction numbers as with Ruko. Oh, okay. I didn't know that, Ray. Um, that's pretty cool to know that best is not the one that's always backwards. Kaba Peaks use SS Springs. Huh. Jeff, I didn't know that. I know Jeff Moss knows that because he does peaks all the time. Uh, we don't do any peaks system. Um, we really don't have any peak stuff. I think we've got some blanks, and that's about it. Um, okay, cool. You found the Bosnian Bill video. Yeah, I mean the best I see is sort of the gold standard. Everybody has their own formats. Standards. There is, let's see, I have here, I have a Schlage small format, which is just the same as best. You can see this one's actually a 7 pin, but it's the same shape and form as best. I mean, it won't go in because I don't have a control key and the control lug is still extended, but it would go in there if I did have a control key. Sergeant IC, you can see the control lug is here and it's actually in the middle. I don't know. Let me get in here. All right. So there is the control lug for Sergeant IC. And if I remember correctly, what is it? The For the pin stack height, it is, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong because I probably am, but I think it's 16, 16, 16, 18, 18, 16, 16. Or it's like 16, 16, 20, 20, or 18, 18, 20, 20, 18, 18. There's for your control lug, this takes up 2 chambers. For your control lug, you add 2 to the stack height for your control key. So if, say, the key cut depths on positions 3 and 4 for your operating key were, just to keep it simple, let's say they were both 5 on your operating key, then you would actually add 2 to that um, in an upward direction. So you would be 3 and 3 on those key cut positions for your operating key, because then it pushes your pins up and it will operate the control lug. So that's how Sargent works. And then we've looked before at multi-lock IC. Rune, I think I've got that in your box. Let's see, that's not it. There we go. On the multi-lock IC, and that's my operating key, not my. Actually, I think that's the one I was going to send you, Rune. Here we go. Yep, there we go. On the multi-lock IC, and this is the same way that Schlage does their IC as well. You have the control lug is this part right here, and with the control key, it pushes up on a pin here, which goes up, and you can see just at the tip of my fingernail, the little shiny part is actually the pin that goes up and grabs hold of this on the inside and does that for you. All kinds of really, really cool stuff in IC, and I don't even know the half of it, to be honest with you. So I am sharing, I think I've shared about all of the knowledge about IC that I have. But I imagine that there will be a podcast episode on it at some point in time. Let's see here. Now, frogs have hair. Yep, frogs do have hair this day and age. Now try the Sergeant and Corbin. Yeah, 3 and 4 in the middle. Yep. Um, yeah, the Schlage, basically the way the Schlage IC is, if you have an operating key, just any old 6-pin Schlage, operating key, you take this bitting and cut it onto the key blank that has just a little extra ramp at the end of it to lift up on that control pin, and you're in. Pinning is still the same, regardless of it being IC. I mean, like I was saying, our corporate customer that had all of these that we replaced, they're all on Schlage IC. So I pin those up constantly. Both IC and regular Mortise. They don't do any. I don't think I've ever pinned up a regular lever cylinder for them, though, which is pretty interesting. But anyhow, never touch the yips. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I will be right back. Y'all, stay put. Listen to me run in excitement out to my car, because I think somewhere in my old jalopy that I have a Yale. Yes. And I got it for live like 2 weeks ago and forgot all about it. Uh, so, yes. Now, I've never done anything with Yale IC before. Looking to see if I can figure out what keyway it is. If it's its own keyway or if this is a, it looks, show y'all, it looks like a best A keyway to me. And if I can find, um, all the mess and destruction, the cats have rained down upon me. Let me see if I can find, ooh, there's some batteries. Forgot I had those. Let's see. I will look for that later. Check it out later. These were, switch cameras here. These were actually taken out of, actually out of that same corporate customer that I keep talking about, their new building. And of course, Schlage won't fit in there. And they didn't even have keys to these. So let me grab this. Look at the chat. Come here. They're actually being calm today, guys. Aren't you being calm? You being lazy? I think they've gotten too good to star anymore. They're in here. They're doing great. Let's see. InstaKey uses 4 stacks for the control. Um, yeah, I think it's Yale SFIC. So it should pick like the same as Best, I'm assuming. Never dealt with it, like I said, but Rune, there are there's Best, Schlage, Sargent, Yale, Corbin, um, and then you've got different formats. Small format, large format, full size, which is Schlage's terminology for theirs. And I mean, there's a bunch, but it's really, really good. Because I would, especially on exit devices, I mean, um, to have IC on exit devices when you have the control key. That's the thing is um, people just lose the control key, and if they went with one locksmith and now that locksmith is retired, sold the business or whatever, or sold it and the new owner changed record systems and lost control key biddings, that's where it gets to be a pain in the ass. Um, let's see. Going back to my lock sport roots today, y'all. I wish I could get the camera around here to where you can watch. Um, yeah, not Yale LFIC. Um, Pete Woodfine, good morning. Haven't seen you in a while. Control keys go in the storage safe. Yeah. Um, but just like Jeff said, you get there. Yeah, I never got that key. Yeah, you did. Um, which is why if you're a locksmith and you install these, you uh, keep your records. Rune, yeah, it is nice. Let me tell y'all a cylinder that is really a pain. And tell me if y'all have any. Let me know. Sergeant mailbox cylinders. I will post pictures. Somebody remind me Monday to post pictures, and I will post them. Um, Sergeant mailbox cylinders are impossible to find, apparently. And when they break, it's hard to describe. I'll have to post pictures. Um, and yeah, those kind of suck to replace. You've had issues with phone signal. Okay. Yeah, we were talking about internet connectivity earlier. Um, let's see. Man, I wish I could put any lock in the field in a vise like this. Be in a warm, comfortable location when I have to pick at work, that is. The oval can be by changing the tailpiece. Yeah, we've got a few systems like that over here. Um, like Schlage actually does a composite cylinder to where you can take either a regular lever cylinder or you can build. I think you can build a one of their FSIC housings. But basically, is a build a cylinder, kind of like build a bear, but build a cylinder. You can make it whatever finish. The face cap can be whatever finish you need it to be. Um, the cam for mortar cylinders can be whatever it needs to be, and you basically build it all around uh, a lever cylinder, regular kick cylinder. Um, I ain't getting nowhere with this. Um, all right, S&M Lock and Key. Have a good one. You need a customer over your shoulder busting your balls. Not like on TV, huh? Oh, geez. Yep. I think one of the biggest unintentional insults that I ever got from a customer, very nice person, and like I said, it was a completely unintentional insult. But the insult was, man, that one sure is really hard to pick. I'm glad I've got it on my house. It was a quick set deadbolt. And yes, it was giving me that much trouble. Um, see if I can pick this thing to operating at least. I mean, if this lock was on the door and I could get the door open, I'd be like, yep, you have to replace the whole thing. I mean, I'm being truthful because if you want to pay me my hourly labor rate to stand here and try to pick this thing to control, you're already over the price of a new cylinder and housing. Unless if it's something really, really, really special. Anyway, folks, I am going to go because I need to have a snack before we start recording for the podcast in less than an hour. I might be late to work, so somebody write me a note, please, to Tyler, since he's the executive producer. I am the executive producer of the LPP Saturday Morning Live, and I also write, direct, edit, self-censor, do the music, do my own hair. It's time for a haircut. I cut my hair every week. Probably mentioned that 1,000 times before. Anyway, I am going to bid y'all a pleasant weekend. Happy weekend. May none of your locks be filled with graphite. Told a customer the other day that if he put graphite into a lock, I would charge him double to work on it. And I completely meant it as well. Anyway, y'all, have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay happy, stay warm, stay healthy, stay out of trouble. See y'all next Saturday. And don't forget to remind me about all the stuff that I've already forgotten to do that I said for y'all to remind me about. Anyway, y'all have a good one.